Let's get back on to the energy debate now and catch up with the Shadow Energy Minister, Dan Tehan. Thanks for joining us, Dan. This latest warning from AEMO, their boss, Daniel Westerman, always seems to tell us he's comfortable and relaxed, has got it under control, but prices are always going up and reliability is always going down, and we're always facing a new challenge. Just how would you describe the situation we're in right now and what our prospects are?
Well, I think Chris Bowen, the part-time Energy Minister, full-time COP negotiator, has absolute egg on his face, Chris, because he's been spruiking now for over 3.5 years that prices are going to come down and reliability is going to be enhanced by his ideologically driven renewables-only approach, and yet every time we hear from experts, it's completely the opposite. And what I can't understand is how this minister, this part-time minister, can still stand there and look the Australian people in the eye and say it's all going swimmingly, you're going to have cheaper prices and the grid's going to be more and more stable, because completely the opposite is happening.
Yeah, and all of this is predictable, right? You've got Daniel Westerman from AEMO and the government saying the same thing. I mean, they're not independent operators, AEMO. They're there implementing the government's policies. And they're saying that essentially you need more inertia in the system to replace the inertia of the coal-fired generators. But this was always the aim, to drive out the coal-fired generators and the gas-fired generators. The whole aim is to drive out the fossil fuels. So how could they have been so effective in driving out the fossil fuels, yet they haven't replaced it with anything else that can provide that inertia?
Well, it's a very good question, and one that Chris Bowen should be answering today, because he's been warned about this since he's been minister, and he's done absolutely nothing about it. And the only thing we've heard from the government so far today is we had an assistant minister out saying, "Oh, don't worry, Curry's going to come on." Well, it's a gas peaker, and they're saying a gas peaker is going to replace Eraring, which provides baseload power right through the system. I mean, it is utter nonsense. And, you know, what we're starting to see is all the warnings that have been issued around Chris Bowen's ideologically driven renewables-only approach are all coming home to roost. And he has nothing to offer as a result. And, I mean, the sooner Anthony Albanese makes him a full-time COP negotiator so he can focus on the UN in New York and leave Australia alone, and hopefully we can get someone in here who knows and understands how engineering works, how power grid works, and we can turn this around. Because if we don't, the sad reality is we're going to see energy poverty continue to increase, and we're already seeing that occurring. We're going to see electricity prices continue to rise 40% under this Albanese Labor government. And we've got this real threat now in a year of blackouts. I mean, it is an unmitigated mess.
Well, the bottom line, though, comes back to this concept of baseload power, much maligned by the renewables zealots. But, of course, apart from providing steady, low-price, constant energy, baseload power provides that system inertia. Is it not the case that we cannot run a reliable grid, let alone an affordable one, without baseload power? It needs to be provided by coal if you're prepared to wear some emissions, or by nuclear if you want to go emissions free.
Absolutely, and gas as well obviously can play a role as well, but you do need that baseload power, and that's why we've always said, you know, coal has played that role, and then we should look to move to emissions-free nuclear over time as you sweat those coal assets, and you need gas obviously playing a key role as well. But you know, what we've just seen recently with the EPBC Act changes, they've basically said, no, we're not going to allow gas to be included in enabling more advanced and quicker approval processes. So they're leaving gas behind. They're not moving quickly on a gas reservation policy, and they're trying to close coal down ahead of schedule. So that's why we've all of a sudden in this mess. And of course, we've got Chris Bowen who won't even entertain the fact of lifting the ban on nuclear, so the market could play its role if they saw a role for nuclear in our grid going forward. So everything about this is purely and utterly ideologically driven.
Yeah, and it's a dire prospects for the country. Here's what Barnaby Joyce had to say about it today.
We should be building new coal-fired power stations. I can say that now. Net zero is a massive mistake and we should fix it, and you should be building new coal-fired power stations. Otherwise, Australia, the lights are going to go out.
Yeah, now I'd be all in favour of nuclear power if we could get it online quickly, but realistically it's going to take 10 years. Do we need new coal? Would you rule out new coal in the interim?
Well, what we've said in the short term, what we should be looking is very much a technological neutral approach, where we should be ensuring we're sweating our coal assets, bringing more gas into the system and using all other types of technology that's available. And then what we should do is move to a capacity market where once again we let the market decide what is needed and what is required for our energy grid. And once again, that should be technology neutral. So we're not saying that should be one form over another. What we're saying is let the market make the right decisions. And my view is if we got rid of the nuclear ban, what's happening with the nuclear renaissance around the world is that's where the market wants to go. We're seeing technology companies investing in it. I don't think that you need government playing a significant role if you look what's happening around the world. But we want to move from the short term, where we're using basically everything that's available to us, to a position where we design a market and we let the market decide what is needed. And obviously, as you look to make sure that you're moving and transitioning your grid to a more low emissions grid, you want to see those types of technologies like nuclear coming on, because that obviously will help you with your emissions reduction at the same time.
Dan Tehan, thanks so much for joining us. Dan Tehan there joining us from Western Victoria.